Vacuuminator.
I'm Buster.
And this week in Toku, we're going to talk about a ranger in need, some fandom drama, and the return of Revice. But before all that, Buster, how you doing?
First off, two of those are Power Rangers related and are both unfortunate circumstances. Oof.
Well,
Second,
they're like two of the biggest things that happened this week. I had to do that.
Okay, well, fair, but like it just made me sad. But like, I'm not doing any better. Honestly, today's kind of been shit. Like, it's been like, I mean, I'll talk about like the good shit in my weeks, like when we get to old stuff and toys.
Mm-hmm.
But also, it's just today's just been garbage. I just haven't had motivation to work. I kind of got stuck at a shitty party. It's just not been great. It's not, but like hopefully, I'm excited to do this podcast, and I got a little special announcement at the end regarding podcast and me. So, hint, hint, wink, wink. How are you doing, Mr. Cuminator?
Mr. Cuminator, that's a new one.
No, I said it before.
No, you've said Mr. Vacuuminator. I've never heard Mr. Cuminator from you.
I've said Cuminator. You just never. This is the first time you've noticed.
Okay, if you say so. I'm fine. I'm doing pretty good. I had a pretty solid Monday. Like, I don't want to sound like I'm rubbing it in your face or anything.
Nah, it's fine. Rub it in my face.
Okay, I got up. I had a really good workout. I went and got some groceries and some good deals on toys, and then I spent an afternoon figuring out streaming, and then I streamed myself opening those toys because that's something I wanted to add to my repertoire as a content creator for quite a while, is the ability to do solo streams and stuff like that. So now I feel like I've finally got a decent handle on that, thanks to a lot of coaching from Boingo.
It happens, but like, hey, congrats.
Yeah, so that's a thing that's going on. I got a new video in the editing bay, and it'll hopefully be out tomorrow for the listeners. But we'll see what's going on with all that. But you know how you can always be aware of what's going on with us, Buster?
What?
By supporting Modular Media. If you give this video a like, if you comment down below, if you subscribe, if you ring that bell in order to enable the notifications, if you follow us on Twitter at the Modular Media, join the subreddit r/Modular Media, and follow us on Tumblr at Modular Media, you will always be up to date with everything we're doing here at Modular Media, not just this week in Toku, but also the No Prize podcast, where myself and Boingo talk about comics and comic-related properties, Modular Components, where we hang out and shoot the shit with guests occasionally, and Analytical Fanboys, where we discuss a piece of media selected by one of us that the others either haven't seen or haven't seen in a long time and needed to check out, and the selector's opinion. But, yeah, that's all the ways you can support us. Definitely help us out here at Modular Media. Help us grow. Help us become the big media empire that we are destined to be. And in the meantime, let's talk about some news. Our top story this week, Super7 unveiled their next wave of Godzilla reaction figures. If you're not aware, Reaction is kind of Super7's flagship line. It's the one that got them their start. I'm not sure if we've talked about it on the podcast before. Have we?
We have. We've talked about, like, Super 7 adjacent lines, but, like, I think, like, people know what Reaction is.
Yeah, it essentially started out as, like, hey, there were alien toys that never got made, let's make those. And then it ballooned out into, here's a 5 POA figure of every fucking media property in existence.
It's a nostalgia bait line.
It's what if Pops were Kenner Star Wars toys, basically.
The worst timeline.
But Godzilla is one of their flagship lines, and they've unveiled a new wave. I'm not sure what number wave this is, because I haven't kept up with this line super well. I don't keep up with Reaction in general, but when the news crosses my desk, I, of course, bring it along to you. And in this wave, there are two different versions of Godzilla, one with an L tail, one with a J tail. There is a Mecha Godzilla that is half disguised as Godzilla, because I think that was a thing in a movie. There is Hedorah, there is Ghidorah, and there is classic Gigan. Also, there's going to be a special variant glow-in-the-dark J-tail Godzilla that I think is exclusive to some kind of stupid thing. These look fine. I'm not offended by these at all, but also I'm not super enticed to buy them.
I hate nostalgia pandering.
Listen, Buster, 60-year-olds have to have something to buy. They can't spend it all on the golf course.
They have to. Freaking the golf course. There has to be collectible golf balls out there, right?
I would not be surprised, but also I've not heard of it before.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so someone get on that. Some billionaire get on collectible golf balls.
Yeah, give me a line of designer golf balls that look like the Transformers from the 1980s Sunbow animated series. Do you remember Soundwave? He was that guy who shot tapes. Anyways, there's also masks. They unveiled another wave of Godzilla masks. I know we talked about the first wave of this for sure, and I'm not sure like if any of these are like repaints of pre-existing ones. I think that Godzilla one was in a different colorway in Wave 1, but I think the Mecha Godzilla might be new, and I'm also not sure about the Hedorah, but like if you want your like cheap nostalgic party masks for kaiju, there you go. Let's move on to more important news. Hey, Shin Ultraman won a bunch of more awards.
Not at the Oscars.
Yeah, because the Oscars happened this week, but at the 46th Annual Japan Academy Film Prize Awards. Seems like they could stand to ditch a word or two in that title. But it won Best Cinematography, Best Lighting, and Best Art Direction, which I think are all well-deserved. Shin Ultraman is a fantastic movie, and it deserves quite a few awards, in my opinion.
Yeah, it is certainly my favorite movie of last year.
Mm-hmm.
Then again, my second favorite movie of last year is Weird and Ali Yankovic's story, so who am I to judge the best movie of the year?
Hey, I don't even know if I have a favorite movie of last year. Last year was so all over the place for me with movies.
Oh man, you should have seen half of the movies I saw. There were a lot of bangers if you looked.
I don't know. Maybe The Batman. Maybe that's my movie of the year. I don't know. I'd have to look at my letterbox. Anyways, let's look at some toys. We announced last week that there was going to be a vinyl of Shin Gomez coming in upcoming wave of Bandai vinyl toys. But now they've also announced that Pagos and Pegida are coming, the Shin design specifically. And this is kind of exciting. I love that all these designs are getting toys, even if they are the smaller, cheaper toy line, and they are designs that we only saw for a split second and aren't that huge of an update. Like these look fun. These look neat.
Yeah, and I think that's just a fun idea because it's like, hey, the first like minute and two is just like here's a bunch of Ultra Q or Ultraman episodes updated. Just freaking hey, want to make toys of these? Okay, like.
SH Monster Art's gonna be serving up the goods for years to come.
Yeah, just fun things, and I do like the what's the third one called?
Pegida.
Pegida. I do like his goofy grin. He looks like a friend.
I think the original suit had that too. He's one of the funnier ones in the original Ultraman. But hey, speaking of Ultraman, I'm gonna ask a very serious, very important question right here for our listeners. Have you ever wanted to see Mother of Ultra getting fucked?
They probably have.
Well, congratulations, because Studio Giga, the studio behind Waku Saber and the Metal Heroes porn parody, is doing an Ultraman porn parody. We're not going to cover it, because Waku Saber was incredibly bland and not interesting, and I never got around to watching the actual porn, so I don't know if that was any good. Yeah, the intro is out, and you can watch that on this Twitter link I have. So if you really want to see Mother of Ultra get fucked, now is your chance, because the female Ultra design in this is just straight up Mother of Ultra.
I'm just like, this just feels like, oh, Shin Ultraman was a big hit. Let's just do a lazy cash grab. It's like,
I mean, it looks decent. It's not the quality of a current Ultra show, but it looks decent. In terms of, like, effects and whatnot.
Oh, yeah, like, effects work will be fine, but, like, I'm just, like, I'm one of the weirdos who cares about writing. So, know.
Well, I like writing, too.
Speaking of writing on the wall...
Oh, man. Do you want to take the lead with this? Because I really didn't know what the hell you were talking about when you brought it up to me. Okay,
Generation Kikaider. So some may know this company as the company who has produced the infamous over $100 Kamen Rider V3 DVD set. They've done Kikaider, Inzuman, and they're going out of business. So get those sets while you can. I think the Kikaider set is already sold out, so that's lost media now. So if you have that set somehow...
Somebody upload that to Archive of Our Own.
I mean, there's already fan subs out there of these shows, so it's like...
They had Kikaider 01 and they had Inzaman. All those are sold... Well, actually, Kikaider 01 is still in stock.
Yeah,
But
Kikaider 01. Is V3 sold out?
V3 is in stock, and for those of you who want to know how good of a discount this is, because this is going out of business sales, Kikaider 01 was $90, now $65. Kamen Rider V3 was $150, now $100.
Yeah, so if you have $100 laying around, and actually this has bonus features. This actually has bonus features like interviews, interviews behind the scenes, factoids, freaking video quizzes, like just.
I mean, relatively speaking, this does seem like a fairly good deal for those, but I ain't gonna buy them because I've not seen any of these shows, and I don't have that kind of money to spend on DVDs right now.
Yeah, I kind of hate that this came right before I'm about to watch Kamen Rider V3.
Mm-hmm.
This is like very unfortunate timing. But yeah, RIP Generation Kikaider, you did some good shit. I'm sorry you couldn't go survive for longer.
And just to be clear with the listeners, they're not getting shut down or anything. They literally ran out of money.
Yeah, it seems that way. Like it just like they're closing their online store specifically. Apparently there's a physical store, but I don't think there is.
Well, they're operating out of Hawaii, so I don't think any of our listeners could get there in time.
Yeah, because basically the way they work is they had the license from the Hawaii broadcast of these shows because these shows were really popular in Hawaii, and the way they can just like loophole is that they just send the DVDs like through shipping. So I'm not sure. I don't think Toei shut them down. I think they just like we don't have any more money to license anything, so why bother?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, RIP. Thank you for getting that media out to those who wanted it, and hopefully everybody who wants a copy of V3 can grab it before it sells out. Though,
yeah,
who knows? It might be sold out by the time people are listening to this.
Hopefully, Shout Factory or Discotek can get a reprint of.
Oh hell yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
But let's talk about some more recent Kamen Rider news because a new premium Bandai item for Kamen Rider Saber has been announced. I don't know shit about Saber. Buster, explain this.
Okay, this has an interesting history. So this is basically the sword for Caliber. Now, this is basically the big prop level sword. The interesting thing is, this actually came out in China. There was like a version of this that was Chinese. Basically, that was like, that filled the same, if you want the sword, but not like a tiny stick, you want it to be like the actual prop sized. That was in China, so it seems like they're just taking some of that retooling and putting it in like this version. So it seems like this is just like a bit of a budget P Bandai thing, but still comes with lines from all of its users.
Looks like it's like the size of a Memorial Edition or a CSM, basically.
Yeah, this is basically a Memorial Saber like thing. Like it's just like it's like, hey, we already have the tooling for this stuff, so let's just put it here. And hey, it's cool that comes with, because Caliber did have multiple users, it comes with lines from all three of them, so that's fun.
Yeah, that's nice. But that is all the Kamen Rider news for this week. Very slow week for Rider news, but we got plenty of Sentai here for you. First of all, we got more details on the Memorial Edition Geardalinger. Basically some photos from P Bandai's workshop blog showing exactly how much of an improvement it is from the DX, with side-by-side comparisons showing how much bigger it is, how the wheel now has a full sculpt to it. It's not a half piece, and how the gaps on the blade have been filled in, which is really cool. This thing's looking like a really nice premium update that I would love to get, but I don't. This is fucking money.
Yeah, same. Like, this is like, Zox is my favorite 6, and it just sucks that I'm not going to be able to get this.
Yeah. I mean, you could always run across it at a convention for astronomical aftermarket prices one day.
Well, I'll just get the DX stuff for astronomical after prices.
All right. Well, let's talk about something slightly more current, which is that also in the post announcing that P Bandai teased that there was going to be infrared interlocking technology in the Memorial Dawn Blaster. Oh man, what could that mean? It's only a Memorial Edition Zanglass sword. That's right. Full-size Zanglass sword that's going to have all the functionality from the show, some character lines probably, and most importantly, it's going to be the big fuck-off sword you can throw over your shoulder when you do the Don Momotaro laugh with your cosplay.
Yeah. It's gonna be fun. Hopefully the people who want it can get it. It's a
Yeah.
cool sword. It's a cool sword.
Yeah, I do like the design of that sword. I was very tempted to get the DX back during the early days of Donbrothers, but it never quite happened, and I don't think I'm going to go for this, honestly.
Fair.
But what I am going to go for is friggin' Donbrothers versus Zenkaiger, because we got a whole bunch of new stills from that special up on the Toei Tokusatsu fan club website, or I think this might have been from some kind of brochure. I don't know where the fuck this came from. This just started doing the rounds the other day, honestly. But some interesting tidbits from this. Flint is going to hang out with Donbrothers Kaito, so there's going to be at least some sort of acknowledgement of that. Looks like Sonoi is running the Oden cart now,
Very
and
cute.
there's a shot of Momo Itaro in his post-show outfit. So this does take place post-series to some extent.
Are we gonna see like they haven't showed a suit for that, but are we gonna see like color corrected like white Don Momotaro? Like that's all I ask for. That's all I ask for. Because they showed the visual, and it would just basically confirm my metaphor if they just color correct it. Come on.
Yeah, that'd be pretty friggin' sweet, and would make me more inclined to agree with you on that show. But that's all the Sentai news. Now we're going to move into Power Rangers news, and just fair warning, folks, it's a very rocky week for Power Rangers news. We're going to be starting off with something kind of sad. Eka Darville, who most people will know as Scott Truman from Power Rangers RPM, the Red Ranger, recently posted a GoFundMe for his son, Mana, who has been diagnosed with multiple brain tumors, and the prognosis is not good, and even to get them healed up and all that stuff, the medical bills are going to be astronomical. He's asking specifically for $600,000 on this campaign, and as of this recording is at $205,278. I have already donated to it, and I would recommend anybody listening who is even remotely a fan of Eka or is even remotely a decent human being pitch in whatever they can.
Yeah, this really sucked. Like I disagree with Eka on some things, but no one deserves to go through this.
Yeah, it's a really sad situation, and I really do hope Mana pulls through, and that Eka is spared any heartache that may come from this. But there's no easy way to transition out of something like that, so I'm just going to start talking about the next thing. So there is an Australian retailer called Angel Grove Collectibles, and they are one of the few Australian-specific retailers that carries the Lightning Collection. And just recently, they posted an update to people who had ordered Lightning Collection Remastered Wave 1 from them that they are not going to be shipping those. They are going to refund everybody's orders because they were seized and destroyed by Hasbro for failing a QC inspection.
Oh.
Yeah, which there's multiple angles you can take with this. One, sucks that those people aren't getting their figures now. I hope Hasbro sends them a replacement shipment at some point. Two, holy shit, there's QC inspections now? Are they actually going to fix the problems? Is that what's happening here?
Well, hoping. Just finally, like, they're like, it was too low. It went even lower than before, that it bit them in the butt, and now they're forced to do that shit, so...
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about multiple times how, like, this is a real make-or-break wave. If there's QC issues with this wave, they're not only going to lose any hardcores that we're still hanging on, but they're never getting casual dollars again.
Yeah.
So, I think they know exactly how important this is, and they're probably trying to really tighten up the QC for this wave specifically, though hopefully for everything in general. I think Josh also said on this week's Lightning Storm that he's heard rumblings of a soft recall on the wave. Like, before it's even gone out to retailers, Hasbro is stopping it from shipping to double check the QC. So this this might be the light at the end of the tunnel, folks. I'm not going to say it is definitively, but this is a good sign in my opinion.
Yeah, it's like they're actually pushing through with freaking like, hey, quality. Hopefully no more bugs.
Yeah, well, hey, speaking of bugs, just today, the previously leaked Lightning Collection Turbo Invisible Phantom Ranger randomly went in stock on Hasbro Pulse UK, and people were able to order it. Just that specific site, though. You couldn't order it from any other region. And the listing doesn't even seem to work on Hasbro Pulse US. But this has led a lot of people to wonder, because there is currently an Entertainment Earth launch page saying that there's going to be a Power Rangers related pre-order on Tuesday, if this is what that pre-order is, or if this is just one of those pre-orders and UK happened to post it early.
Well, this is being released on Tuesday, so you should know by then.
Yeah, and I mean, it's also like, whatever it is, it's not going to be a whole lot because there's no fan stream this week. We thought there might be a fan stream on Tuesday because of that page, but it never got announced, so it might just be, hey, Invisible Phantom Ranger, here you go. Or it might be, hey, here's all those exclusives that leaked a month ago, here you go, that kind of a thing.
It'll probably just be like, here is a Twitter thread, have a good day.
Yeah, it'll probably be one of those. But, hey, speaking of Twitter, Josh also posted earlier this week to Twitter that he got some new information regarding the Lightning Collection RPM Yellow Ranger, which is that she's not going to come with the zip charger. He thinks it's possible she will be coming with both versions of the high-octane Saber, was it? Their standard team weapon that was like a sword gun?
Yeah.
But according to his leaker, they're not giving her the zip charger, which leads me to believe we're not getting Ranger-specific weapons with any member of this team, because that's the smallest weapon in the whole show. So if they were going to do any of them, they probably could have done that one.
Okay, here's my stupid conspiracy theory. The weapons in RPM can get really large. So they don't want to do that. They don't want to do it. But like, that also sucks, because if we're gonna get a Ziggy figure, we're never gonna get an axe, and I freaking love his axe, so I'm pissed a bit. At least I hope they do like they give like Ziggy and Dylan like their specific weapons, because they're like, no, but they're not gonna. But because like Dylan's is just a gun, so.
Here's hoping, and like this shouldn't excuse them not including the weapons, but I'm saying like, here's hoping this will finally be the kick in the pants the fandom needs to start up an independent market of like 3D printable weapons for Lightning Collection figures. Because a lot of other lines do that. You can get that for Marvel Legends, you can get that for G.I. Joe Classified, you can get that for various import lines. But I've not seen anybody go like, oh, hey, this Power Ranger is missing his weapon. Here, you can order a 3D print of it from me, or I'll custom paint up a batch of them and sell them on Etsy. And I really think that's a missed opportunity. Somebody in the fandom could make bank from that. Tim, put your 3D printer to work.
I mean, like, Tim doesn't really do a Power Ranger.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm just saying. But
get a 3D printer and put it to work. Also, for this next thing, can you not describe the photography shown, because it's kind of spoilers for Once and Always?
Yeah, we have more behind-the-scenes photos from Once and Always, this time posted again by Catherine Sutherland, and also by Charlie Kesh, who is playing Ming. They look interesting, I'll say that. Like Buster said, they are pretty spoilery, but if you want to check them out, the link is going to be down in the video description, along with all the other news links. The link to Eka Darville's GoFundMe is down there, so be sure to check out the description for anything you're interested in from this week. Now, it's time to talk about the thing. The big thing that took up most of my Friday when I was supposed to be busting my ass at work. The thing that kept me on Twitter. The big stupid fandom drama of the week. I hope you're all ready, because I'm going to run down what all happened in proper sequence of events and kind of give my thoughts as I go, and then Buster's just going to be allowed to go off, because I know Buster feels a lot more strongly about a certain aspect of this than I do.
Okay, go for it.
All right, so on Friday, Netflix released their in-app synopsis for Once and Always. Now, for those of you who aren't super familiar with Netflix, Netflix basically has much shorter, like, two-sentence synopsises below the show when you actually click on it in the app on, like, the landing page. And the synopsis for Once and Always reads, after tragedy strikes, an unlikely young hero takes her rightful place among the Power Rangers to get revenge on the team's oldest arch nemesis. And a lot of people, including myself, cocked a big old eyebrow at that. We went, whoa, are they gonna... Because I originally had predicted, you can go back and listen to this podcast, I had originally predicted, like, oh, Trini will be long dead and Ming will find her morpher while going through, like, the attic or something like that. But this leads me to believe that they might do something to say Trini dies, like, right at the start of the special, and that kickstarts the events of it. Now, I was thinking something like Ming is going home to visit her mom for the holidays or something like that, and then the whole house just gets blowed up and you don't see anything except, like, maybe a monster emerging from the wreckage or something like that. But shortly after this was tweeted, Toku Chris, quote retweeted one of the posts of the description, and he said the following: I'm not sure if the pic from a set I saw XX months ago is 100% related to said tragedy, but I kind of hope not because it's a little too ... surreal. And below that, he posted said pic, which is of an overturned car in some muddy riverlands in New Zealand. After that, a little while after that, at Willie J. Coe on Twitter tweeted that he had reverse Google image searched the image and found it on a website for a sort of walking trail near a lake that this was taken on. And it was posted as part of a review of the set, and the review is by another user, not Toku Chris. It was posted all the way back in September, and it says that they saw what looked like a Power Rangers crew filming around the car. Now, here's the interesting thing about this photo. There is no signs of a crew around the car in this photo. It is completely empty except for the overturned car and some car tracks. There's no cameras, there's no crew members. There's nothing that would indicate this is being filmed to me. And on top of that, Simon Bennett himself jumped in when being asked directly about it and said that it is malicious speculation and should not be given credence. At this point, I personally went and DM'd Toku Chris because, for reasons I'll talk about later in the show, I've kind of gotten, I wouldn't say close, but I've gotten in contact with him recently. And I DM'd him I sent him the links to all these, like, things trying to disprove it, and I said, hey man, I'm not trying to be rude or say you did anything, but you might want to, like, post a statement about these things before people start coming after you saying you're spreading misinformation willfully. So he sent me a long reply detailing out everything behind what he saw and why he posted it. And then he put a public statement that said, no malice was intended. Shared an image that was shared with me and some others way back. It was a reaction to seeing the episode description early this morning. Even stated I wasn't sure of the context behind the image. Never claimed it was a behind-the-scenes exclusive, nor did I share it on either of my larger fan accounts. So the narrative of did it for attention/clout doesn't make sense to me. But nevertheless, my sincere apologies, there was no ill intentions meant. Now, I'll admit, when I originally saw the photo, my gut sank, because I thought the same thing a lot of other people assumed from it. But again, like I said, you look at the image a little more closely, and it doesn't look like people are actually filming around that car. I could almost see, like, it would have to be a very good Photoshop job, but it almost looks like the car might have been Photoshopped into an existing photo. And talking to Chris, getting more details than what he publicly posted, like, I'm not going to read off my DMs verbatim, because I'm not that kind of guy. But Basically, the way he laid it out to me, it seems like a source he usually trusts gave him bad information, and he just wasn't able to tell, and ended up getting caught in accidentally setting off a whole bunch of crossfire that came right back at him. I don't think he was trying to like spread a rumor or anything like that. I think he got caught up in an accidental rumor. And I don't think this is actually going to be in the episode, honestly. I don't think that photo's real. I think Simon Bennett is telling the truth when he says this is not a thing that's in the special. But, Buster, I know you're feeling some kind of way, so go ahead.
Okay. I trust Chris because honestly, there's a lot of malicious Power Rangers rumor spreaders. I don't know why that's a freaking subcategory. And honestly, I just like even if that was a thing, I just can't see this team doing it. The power, like, not to be like criticizing the Power Rangers team, but they're like toothless, kind of. I mean, not toothless, but like they're very like they're pretty soft. They would not even acknowledge.
Show.
Yeah, they would not even acknowledge shit like this, even in a 30th anniversary special. Now, if for those not to know why a car relating to Treaty would be problematic, in 2001...
We trained in a car crash.
Yeah, and let me tell you, seeing this unfold and everyone getting, like, either misinformed or just, like, it sank me because just... I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of tearing up a bit when you, talk about it, because the memories... Earlier this year, I just lost 2 really good friends in a car crash.
Mm-hmm.
And I just seeing shit like this, like, being treated as a joke, either by, like, my own thoughts of, like, what is this in the special, or just people making light of it, it freaking pissed me off, and, like, I only made one statement about it. I'm glad I didn't really go into that would have been really unhealthy. But it really sank my heart. It just, like, I don't like people using it as, like, whoever gave that information to Chris, go fuck yourself. Legit.
The whole overturned car saga, it was literally like it definitely wasn't anywhere near as bad as it was for you, but for me it was a whole day of like constantly going like, should I open my phone and see if there's a new development, what's going on? It was literal doom scrolling for fucking Power Rangers, which is like, just sad. I hate that. Like, I like doing this show. I like keeping up with Tokusatsu. I like talking about it with Buster and for people to listen to. But I hate that sometimes the fandom gets me to that place mentally. It's just, like, it is embarrassing of us as a group that stuff like that can happen.
Yeah, and it, like, it really hurt me emotionally. And it's just, like, Can we move on to something cool relating to Once and Always?
Yes. So the man himself, Ron Wasserman, composer for the original 6 seasons of Power Rangers, posted on Ranger Board that he had updated his IMDb because he is composing Once and Always. He's doing all the music for it, which is fucking Goat Raw Swag Kino. I love Ron Wasserman's score.
Vocal songs. That's all I got.
Even like just his brand of freaking 90s synth backing. Oh man, getting that and back like, in the show.
Honestly, my favorite thing he's composed, Power Rangers SPD theme, because that is like hearing like he's like because hearing that made me realize shit, he's improved since then. Mm-hmm. Imagine him doing like full tracks for this.
I mean, and you can also listen to the tracks he's done for other shows since, and he is a very versatile guy. Like, we know him for like the super rocky, synthy stuff that he did for kids shows in the 90s, but he can do like all kinds of styles. He's a very versatile guy and a very talented composer, and I'm so excited to see what he does for this special because I love his original score and I know how much he's improved since.
Yeah, it's going to be a very fun time. Mm-hmm. And I hope Hasbro is paying and treating him well, because I know Saban treated him like garbage, so just...
Yeah, and in light of this whole thing, because Once and Always is coming out on April 19th. I can't believe it's that close. But I think there was also one other thing that... Oh yeah, Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania hits Disney Plus on April 19th. So I'm freaking taking the day off work to watch both those things as quick as I can.
I'll probably just watch Once and Always once it like hits 2 a.m. because I'm often awaked up at 2 a.m. for some reason. So
Fair enough. But yeah, that's all the news that's fit to print. So Buster, why don't you take us on to the new releases?
Who's ready for some V cinema?
Sure.
Okay, this is gonna be an argument edition because we both have very different thoughts. Kamen under Revice forward, live and evil and demons and all the fellas. I did not like this.
I thought it was fine.
I mean, it's not offensive. It just bored me. It's just so boring, man.
I'll admit, the second act really drags. They did not need so much of, like, characters giving each other pep talks. That's just borderline a clip show.
Yeah, there's too many clip shows. Like, I like Hiromi and Hiromi's uncle dynamic with this kid. That's cute. They should have.
It's weird that, like, the sub, because there's only one sub of this out, and we both watched it. The sub says uncle, but the word she's saying is the friggin' Japanese word for old man or grandpa.
Well, I think that can apply to multiple older father figures, and they just like the shows. It happens. But yeah, the fights were fine. It kind of falls into the Revice problem of they feel on autopilot, and like I know you haven't watched the Saber V Cinema, but this is a huge step down from that V Cinema. This is like after we got like the very experimental but really well done trio of Deep Sin. And I know you hated O's 10th, but I really liked it. This just felt like a big, it's just kind of plain toast, and I don't like it. It's bland.
Well, I think this is leagues better than O's 10th. I think this actually treats a lot of its characters with respect and does logical things with them, but sure.
I don't know. It didn't really, it just kind of felt this could have been 30 or 40 minutes.
Yeah, you could have cut it down quite a bit, I agree, but I enjoyed what was here. I really like the more amicable version of what's his friggin' name? Daiji and Kagero's dynamic.
It was cute.
It's gone from I'm gonna take control of your body and I'm gonna fucking kill your family, you little bitch, to hey, get good, dude. Come on, get good. We gotta do this. Come on, get good.
Well, I mean, I think he's still a bit edgy with that get good, but
Yeah. And frickin' the Natsuki detective agency that Hana and Tamaki are running?
Yeah, although I understand why they didn't transform because it's only about live and evil and demons, but also it's weird that Janine didn't get to do anything,
Yeah, I'll admit, one thing I really didn't like about this special, they made her look like an idiot in that scene with the clone Hiromi.
Yeah, also, why are there clones and science shit? That wasn't in the show. That wasn't even built up.
I mean, George was a mad scientist for practically the whole show.
Yeah, I guess, but it just kind of felt like, okay, we literally exhausted everything of the dead man's frickin'. Although something I do like about this special, Vice stays dead. He doesn't come back.
Yeah, and I love that Daiji finally gets to use the Revice driver. I hate those suits. I hate the fucking Pepto-Bismol forms. But the fact that Daiji gets to use the Revice driver after being cucked out of it in the beginning of the show is really cool.
It's a cute full circle. I just didn't find any enjoyment out of the enjoyments. There's scenes I'm like, oh, that's cute, but maybe I'm just revised out or just
It's entirely possible. I think the show left a much worse taste in your mouth than it did mine. And I do like the villain, if only because I was just going, it's the Jackal, but if he was a Kamen Rider character.
I literally don't remember anything about the villains. They were just very toast.
All the henchmen sucked, but the main villain guy, his reveal was very obvious, but I enjoyed that he's just a guy who's obsessed with cloning, like the Jackal, and that the big henchman is just a clone of Hiromi. It's essentially his Ben Reilly.
Or just Ben Reilly by way of Virgil Devil May Cry.
Yeah. Also, I love that he friggin' calls himself Muramasa just because he's carrying around a katana. I'm like, oh my god, it's Power Ranger Samurai. You
forgot Donbrothers, man. We literally just had a show with a character called Murasame.
Yeah, but it's not quite Muramasa.
Oh, okay, fair.
And what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, the Hana and Tamaki detective agency, that got me really excited just because I'm like, hey, when Outsiders is over, Can the next fucking TFCC special miniseries be fucking Kamen Rider Detectives? Give me a special that's Shinosuke, Shotaro, and Hana teaming up.
That'd be cute. That'd be a fun idea. But yeah, this is like a fine ending. I just didn't find it enjoyable a lot of the time. It has like moments that I'll be like, oh, that's cute, but like it didn't really grab me. I don't know. It just kind of felt like it's content to shit out because it's contractually obligated.
Yeah, I did. Like, for as much as I enjoyed what they did with Hana as a character, I was the whole time in the back of my head like, oh man, I feel bad for her having to be here when she clearly doesn't want to be.
Yeah, I mean,
she did a good job of acting like she wanted to be there, at least.
I mean, like, here's the thing: from what I've gathered about V cinemas, and these are filmed during the shows, during the show, because they usually have clips of it literally at the end of the show. So
yeah. Oh, I did like that intro sequence. And,
oh yeah, "Come Alive" is a banger. I will admit. Yeah, I've been listening to the full version a lot, and I'm like, yeah, this is a good song.
And it's hilarious that they could only get Ultika's actor back for one shot in the ending sequence.
Yeah. Well, we'll see a bit. I'm more excited for Juga and Ultika versus Ultika, because that's gonna be like, I feel like it'll be like a more send off of the parts I like about Revice, you know?
Yeah, it's also probably gonna be much shorter. I would be surprised if it cracks a half hour.
Yeah, it's just gonna be like, here is 15 minutes of these goofballs fighting.
But yeah, I thought it was all right. It's like it's not getting into the upper echelon of like favorite Rider V cinemas, but it's like a 6 out of 10 for me. It's a barely positive score.
More give it like a 4 out of 10, to be honest. Just didn't really enjoy it myself. But on things we did enjoy, Superhero Time with Kamen Rider Geats, episode 26. I feel like that should be a number I'm familiar with, but no, there's no memes attached to 26. Never mind. Anyway, Lamination 2, the Deep Crimson Boost. So Ace is basically Tendo's son from Kabuto, with how he acts.
He's more powerful than Tendo at this point, because we find out at the end of this episode, we're just skipping right to the end, okay. Man fucking wished for plot armor for himself.
I mean, like, here's the thing. Ace had to work for his plot armor. Tendo could just will it into existence. So I think Tendo's still got the upper edge, but who knows? But Ace isn't even at his final form yet, so
yeah.
But yeah, his journey to like get his plot armor was still really darn good. It was still darn good episode.
I also really admire the restraint of the show to wait until the halfway point to introduce like what feels like the first major upgrade for the main rider. I know we had Twin Command, but that still felt more like a side grade, especially because other people are using it now. This feels like something that's specifically for Ace.
Yeah, it's like, and that's really good restraint. Congrats, Geats. Congrats, Geats. Well, again, I know there's like other toys to sell, but like still, congrats. And I like seeing the Dorito suit and the fight it got. Pretty good fight.
Yeah, oh yeah, great fight. Also, holy crap, we were wrong about Buffa. He's not drinking the Kool-Aid. He's just making them think he's drinking the Kool-Aid to get what he wants.
Because he literally was like, oh yeah, that guy, he died a while ago. I've accepted that. You go frick yourself.
And it was really well done in the episode too, because that moment instantly made the earlier moment where he had to be reminded why the monster bought him that sandwich make more sense. Because in the moment, you're thinking just like, oh, he hasn't eaten that in a long time, and he had to be reminded about it, and but no, it was more like, why the fuck are you handing... Oh, yeah, that's right, I have to be nice to you. Okay.
It's nice recontextualization of stuff. And yeah, Buffa's just like, just like, he knows, he still wants to eliminate all the Kamen Riders, but like, he's smarter than people think he is, you know? And I also like, I know he doesn't really do much except act smug, but I really do love Nudge Sparrow kind of being like a Brain, like from Kamen Rider Drive like character here. Of like,
he kind of looks like Brain.
Well, he got the brain fit. He got the brain fit.
Yeah, he's got those glasses and like a similar shade and cut of hair.
Yeah, he like. Oh, okay, come on, get Brain's actor back, because he's already Kamen Rider Brain from another Toei Tokusatsu fan club special. Get him and Nudge Sparrow to do like a buddy cop special.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah. But
speaking of hilarious, how about the kid getting the bell and making the wish, and his mom just instantly being there? Not even like a shot of her waking up in the hospital. She's just there.
Yeah, that's pretty funny, I
Yeah.
guess. Oh, it's more just convenience and just, dang, what you gonna do?
Hmm. Also, friggin' John was back. We got Festival John this week.
Yeah, John just vibing. Like, was the other guy there?
I didn't see him. I looked for him and I didn't see him.
Ah,
Also, it's weird that like he never brings up Kamen Rider stuff to them. He's just like, yeah, I'm here vibing at the festival.
I guess like it's just like either John Constantine or Fandoman just willed him into this episode.
Yeah.
I mean, not Tom Constantine. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
This actor.
Hopefully they deal with the fact that he remembers being in the Desire Grand Prix at some point.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need him to become like a full main cast member and get back in it, but I'd like for there to just be like a moment of him talking to somebody about how fucked up it is and maybe like how powerless he feels now that he's not able to help.
Maybe when the Desire Grand Prix, if it gets back to normal, he'll be like a new contestant. We'll see. Because it seems like this might be like a mid arc, and then we'll get back to normal, and then final arc. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
But then again, Geats is very unpredictable. So it's like even if I feel like same old, I don't know where the show's going, and that's exciting. So you know, like even if it's hitting on similar beats that like, oh yeah, I know where this is from, it still like feels unpredictable. I can't give the show this.
And it's consistently doing interesting thematic stuff. Like, there's a whole little scene in the middle of this episode where Ace is just talking to a priest and the kid about, like, the nature of religion and how it gives people hope. Which, you know, personally, I don't agree that that's a good thing. But the way the episode frames it, it's like, it makes sense that it should be the motivating factor for the characters this week.
Yeah. It's fun. I didn't really even think that deep about it, but yeah. And it was just really cute to see like the Ace defending the festival, like defending the people's happiness. That's some Kamen Rider shit right there, you know?
The way he just friggin' flicks Surumi and is like, "Shut up, baby. I know it's dangerous. I can handle it."
You would say that. That was a total ace. But yeah, solid episode. But honestly, most of my brain space this week is taken up by the second half of Superhero Time. Oh wait, final thoughts before we move on?
Is good, I liked it.
Okay. Osama Sentai King-ohger, Episode 2, A Ruler for Whom? And also, where is Toei's budget? Where is the budget for the show? What?
They spending all them Shout Factory and Discotheque dollars.
Okay, I don't think that's all funding them, but like, here's the thing about the budget. This can't be Donbrothers' fault, because there's like, they said in like the like post-episode script interview thing, that these things take like 6 months of pre-productions for the sets, for like the backgrounds to make all that stuff. And I'm like, wait, okay, so based on like, okay, the show started filming around Donbrothers' 40. Oh, Donbrothers wasn't even a factor of the budget. This is just, they took the risk and they went with it.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's kind of crazy that like I guess Zenkaiger was like a big enough success, like to like be like, we want to take, or just Toei was like, we want to advance the productions, let's use Sentai as our experimental series to boost. So that's just like, whoa. Like that's that they're putting, yeah, basically that there's so much like whoa in this episode of like, oh my god, how much money they're spending here, you know?
Yeah, and I mean it's also just a fun episode because they go to a friggin' kingdom that's entirely based off of the movie Hackers.
Yeah, because basically like the Yamagus, the king, is basically just like, he just like worked his way up through like fighting games. I know it's not fighting games, but it's funnier to say fighting games. Just video games. And just it's
literally like, they call it hacking. They call it a hacking battle. And it's literally like the Hackers style of hacking, where you're holding the keyboard in one hand and you're typing manically with the other in a way that makes no goddamn sense.
But it's really fun, and it does like kind of like show his style of, I want to build a community, you know, and like they are based on streamers, and what do streamers do? Build a community.
Yeah, I love the moment at the end where they're all like crying and going like, that's our president, he's our leader, but also we're all equal and anybody could be president, but he's president right now because he's just the best guy in the kingdom. Like, holy shit, they put Modular Media in Super Sentai.
This guy wanted to shill our YouTube channel mid podcast. Whatever. But yeah, like I do like Yanma. He's like a cocky guy, and I do like when the press release said he swears a lot. Like, of course, the subtitles we used didn't really put swears, but they did put a lot of colorful vocabulary.
There was a lot of kisamas.
A lot of like insults, very colorful insults, and I do like that.
Yeah, crafty insults, I would say.
Yeah.
Where it's like stuff you wouldn't normally hear, but you're like, oh, that's clever. I'm going to use that someday.
Yeah, a lot of Tanuki calling.
Also, I love that he's just casually chugging beer throughout the whole episode.
I think it's gamer juice or soda.
Oh, it's probably meant to be soda, but because we don't really have soda bottles in America anymore, I immediately went, oh, that's a beer. That's a beer bottle.
Okay, whatever floats the boats for you.
Mm-hmm.
I like the mecha fight is where I was referring to all the budget because it's a bit weirdly.
Freaking that punch shot, man, that was so cool.
Yeah, there's a bit of wonky editing that like I kind of feel like what's going on at times, but like there's so like the good shit in the fight was still really good, and I can still see a lot of effort. Like I could be like, the editing's a bit off, but like they'll tighten it up. And
even with the episode in general, like I would say there are a few points again where I saw stuff chugging. Like there's a point where all the actors are just composited onto a green screen and it's a wide shot, and you can kind of just see Gira and Yama kind of floating where they're supposed to be standing.
Yeah, well that happens. And I do like basically how each episode is basically going to be like, this is the philosophy of this king, and the people there. Because at the end of the episode, your waifu Ran just kidnaps everyone. Everyone. Kidnaps.
I hope that's a recurring thing. I hope every episode until we have the full team just ends with the members assembled so far getting kidnapped by the next one.
Yeah, or just like you're getting arrested or some shit like that. Just like nice like tease storytelling, but still like yeah. And I do like I do like. Yeah, I like the episode. Gira and Yanma have some really good interactions. Also, I love how we already have lots of vocal music for this show. Because we do hear like I assume an in-universe song and Blue's character song. We haven't heard the one Nano has sing for Red yet, but I hope we hear it soon.
I think we're gonna get it when the full team assembles.
Yeah, like when Red is doing some cool fight or something.
And I also think we're not going to get the intro until the full team assembles, because we didn't get it again this week, but they did play the opening during a particularly powerful scene.
Which is like, that's a good use. I like how the opening isn't just reserved for like the mecha sequence. I like how they're using it for like, like this is the key moment of the episode. This is the moment you should take away the most. Is what I'm like. The editing of the song is telling me. And yeah, like it just like I'm really digging it. Like the fights were really good. A lot of slow mo in like the the suit fight.
More like ramping speed shots.
Yeah, and like I do get that because it was very nice to look at. I do like the choreography, but the good the speed. You could adjust the speed better, in my opinion. And like that's more just growing pains of like the style of the show. Like it's like what do we want the style to be? Will this work?
Yeah. Also, last week we had theorized that like, they each have a button that they hit to transform, but Red, because the previous king is silver, he hits what would be the red button, but Red has to actually hit all of them to transform. No, it just so happens they all have weird specific combos of buttons they have to hit in a specific order.
I think it's like here's what I think, because I think it's like you hit all the buttons and then the last button you hit has to be your color. I think that's how it works. I could be wrong. It's interesting. Like I need to see a toy review to see exactly how you get each character's sound, which is that's a fun idea of like, hey, like it's combo based of like how you get the transformation, which is kind of like an evolved version of the cell phone morphers. You hit a button on the you hit 1 to transform into the red, you hit 2 to transform into blue,
Yeah, instead of that, it's twist it, pull it, bop it.
Yeah, and I like that. And also the standby sounds are really good in this show.
I don't love the standby sound, but I have been really won over this week by "You Are the King."
Yeah, that's like it's just like each character has a different standby sound. That's the thing. It's like Yellow has a more elegant, like Blue has a more techno. It's that's what I just like that,
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, yeah, solid King-ohger. Apparently, like Kamurocho, the show's head director, and like basically the guy who's like directing these 2 episodes was like, "Hey, don't worry about the budget, fellas. We'll be fine." And I'm like, I hope so.
I was gonna.
Like,
Oh no, this man's gonna get hibikied.
no, I mean he already kind of got Hibikied with Real Soldier because that was kind of a weird. Like, I don't know everything that happened in Real Soldier. I don't because it's a very recent production. But like, apparently the head writer did change for that show. There was a bit of trouble, so you know. I mean, granted, I think Real Soldier was like there was other problem that like kind of fell off after not fell off, but like kind of like.
Everything I hear about Real Soldier makes it sound like a mess of a production.
It's at its best at the beginning and ending. I'll say that. Like it begins strong and ends strong, but the middle's kind of like ups and downs, you know. But yeah, I do hope Kamurocho will like get to feel his full vision, and I do hope the writer, his last name is Minako, I think, will be able to write as much as he can. Let me actually check.
That guy's definitely got some Inoue in him too, because the Pillbug auxiliary mecha is in this episode, but they don't call attention to it at all.
Actually, they kind of do. It's like, hey, get me that bug who's like part of our thing.
Yeah, that's like one line at the beginning of the episode, and then they just have it during the fight.
Yeah, I don't think that's really just an Inoueism. I think that's just, hey, this is a thing. This is part of the kingdom,
Mm-hmm.
Because like Inoue it would just come out. I think it would just if Inoue was writing it would fall out of the sky. That's how I'm thinking.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, to correct myself, the head writer is named Minato Tanako, not Minato. My bad.
Okay,
I mean, it is Minato, but like it's just that's his first name.
Yeah, we got Tanako and we got Kamurocho. You said.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. The boys.
Yeah, and they're still actually because usually it's like 2 episodes they like write direct or like I know like usually writers stay on for longer than 2. But Kamurocho is still directing episode 3, which is like interesting because usually he only directs. I guess like he's because he's head director, he wants to have more control. So yeah, because usually at least from what I've seen of Kamen Rider, like it's like 2 episodes a director does, and then they hand it off to someone else, and then the cycle repeats. Or maybe it works different from Sentai. I don't know because I'm looking at some of the Real Soldier blocks he did. There was like a point where he directed 4 Real Soldier episodes back to back. So. Yeah,
it's probably like a week where they're just filming whatever they can on a particular day for a certain episode. Like today we have this set, tomorrow we have that set, so on and so forth.
Yeah, that's enough production. I'm just really like the show's really impressing me for its production. I want to know,
Yeah, we need those Blu-rays with the behind-the-scenes featurettes fully subtitled.
Yeah, please. I know OCZ buys them, so please do that. Like, I don't think they're doing full shows anymore, but please give me some of the special editions.
I don't even think OCC is updated in like 6 months.
Oh yeah, it's been.
I hope they're okay. Shout out to OCC.
Yeah, they do good work. All right, you talk about your thing, then I'll talk about my thing.
Okay, so I have officially closed the book on Kamen Rider Double because I decided I'm not going to do Futo Tante. I watched Kamen Rider Double Returns, Axel and Eternal, which is 2 different movies, but you know.
They're part of the same series.
Yeah, and like they look like they were shot at the same time. Because they're both written by the head writer of Double, and they're both directed by Koichi Sakamoto. And you can really tell that this is writer's like first big foray into V cinema type stuff in the modern era, because there's a lot of like really overdone Sakamoto fight scenes in these that feel like he's just cutting loose as hard as he can. And like in both movies, the first 1 or 2 times it happens, it's cool. But by the time you get to like the 4th out of 8 action scenes, your eyes are starting to glaze over. And
also, correction on Kamen Rider Double Returns Axel. That was not written by Sanjo. Eternal was, but Returns Axel was written by Keiji Hasegawa.
That's interesting because I actually liked Axel better. Axel felt like more of a true double after story to me. And I mean, I know Eternal is a prequel, but Axel...
And Hasegawa did write a lot of double episodes. He basically has like the secondary writer's credit with Sanjo.
Okay, because Axel had a lot of interesting stuff going on. And I mean, I didn't even really get to talk about Ryu and Akiko's relationship at all during my watch through, and I think it's really cute, and I really appreciate how subtly it was done throughout the series, where you just see them like slowly growing closer and closer together, and they rarely call attention to it, but when you do, you're like, oh yeah, that's right, they're a thing. That's really cute. And I like how this. I thought this was going to have their wedding in it, but I like that we just skip past the wedding. It's like they're already married and living together, and this is more about like a married couple's issue. Well, Axel is dealing with all this crazy Kamen Rider shit. And also like just the nature of the way he deals with a lot of his problems in this movie. I don't want to overstep my bounds, but I think Axel might be on the spectrum because Akiko
does have a bit of that.
Like he always had the don't ask me questions hang up. He always was like very specific and determined towards one goal. And in this special, there's like a whole big to-do of Akiko being like, call me my name, stop calling me Chief. I'm your wife. I want you to call me my name. And he's like, well, you'll always be Chief to me. Just like that is easier for him because that's what he started calling her. And then there's like a whole thing where like he's dealing with Kamen Rider shit and she's coming up to him and being like, hey, we need to talk about this. We need to talk about like what is going on with you in all the craziness of this movie. And if you don't, I'm going to divorce you. And he's like, I have to fucking deal with this first. Sorry. And that really gave me big, like, not necessarily like he's super on the spectrum, but like he's got to be a little ways along to be like that, in my opinion. But I'm also not an expert.
No, I can, as someone on it, I can see it. I can see why you would think that. I think it's like I could honestly, from my perspective, and like I just think it's trauma shit. Because he did lost his whole family, so like I know they don't really delve into his relationship with the family, but I think that it could just be something from the trauma that like he has,
Yeah. And I'm like, I did generally enjoy that movie. I'm not saying that as like, whoa, I realized he's a weirdo kind of a thing. More just like I picked up something I thought was being put down, and I'm like, that's interesting. And it also like just the movie in general. I already really liked Axel, but this made me like more assured in that. And like the stuff it did with some of the side characters too was fun. Like I like the scene where I like that the main cast is just hanging out in the cafe run by the magician lady the whole movie until they have to escape to be at the third act. And I like that one of the goofy side policeman detectives got a cool action scene, and that it was kind of comical, like a Jackie Chan movie for a minute there.
Yeah, it's good shit. Good shit.
The Eternal movie though is fucking boring and stupid, and I hated it.
Yeah, the Eternal movie is often the most derided part of Double, from what I can gather.
It feels like just an excuse for Koichi to do cool action scenes. And granted, they are cool-looking action scenes, but I can't sit through an hour straight of that. I need story, I need interesting characters, and the characters you provided me here all felt either very one-note or like you were really trying to make me feel a certain way about a character that goes against what I was already told about them.
Yeah.
Like
I do like the idea of like, oh, like there was a previous Eternal user, and like what's his name? Katsumi Daido.
He's the Foundation X-Man.
Yeah, Foundation X-Man. And like I like the idea that he was the first Eternal user with like a different color flame, and that like, hey, like Katsumi took it. But like, yeah, no. Like I feel like it's like I like the Geo special, this appearance in Geo, where he just like, I'm just gonna fuck around and find out,
Also, like, if you thought the Heat Dopant was over-sexualized in A to Z, oh boy, this movie. Oh
yeah,
boy.
It does get pretty like, I want to just like Sakamoto, stop, lay off the horn, lay off the cheese. Okay.
Like it's crazy how like that man can do it very smartly with the script he's directing, and then he can do it in ways that just make him look like a horny old man. And I think this is definitely the second one. Like this movie really made me think like, oh yeah, I Sakamoto's one of my favorite directors, but man, he needs to have a leash on him half the time.
Yeah, I'm just glad he isn't directing the any of the Futoi Tante shit. That's all I'm saying.
Hmm.
Cause like,
That show has already gotten a lot of horny allegations from what I've heard.
oh yeah, there is like moments where it's like, this is just cheesecake, but like I mean,
Hmm.
it's not the worst I've ever seen. It's
Yeah.
semi
And
tolerable,
again,
and
I'm
it's
not
like,
being a prude here. I like cheesecake, but you gotta work it into your story, or it has to be like if you're gonna put cheesecake in a story that's not literal porn, it has to make sense to me.
yeah, or just like freaking makes sense of the characterization. And really, the Heat Dopant has never really struck me as I want to show off. She just struck me as kill, kill, kill.
Hmm. Yeah, that's all I have to say about those. I'm now done with my double watch through. Maybe I'll do a video on some aspect of double eventually. I have a couple ideas kicking around. We'll see what happens. Starting next week, I already did a Twitter poll that ran through the weekend, and the results came in just a few hours ago. I'm going to be watching Mega Ranger, the Sentai that Power Rangers in Space was adapted from, and I've often heard is quite good.
Oh
So
yeah, like I know a lot of people. Mega Ranger's one of their favorites.
yeah, so I'm definitely looking forward to checking it out. It would have been cool if we could have gone to like a whole different Toku franchise, but I'm not super opposed to going back to Sentai. There's lots of Sentai that I need to see, and hey, it'll give me another episode of Gokaiger I can revisit afterwards.
Lamau. I will say I voted for Ultraman Mebius.
Hmm.
I'm pissed.
Yeah, because the poll was Mega Ranger, Mebius, Metalder, and what was the other thing I put
Tomoka
on there?
Hero,
Yeah, Tomoka Hero Rescue Force.
which surprisingly got more votes than Metalder. I'm surprised, and shout out to the Tomoka Hero Rescue Force guys.
Yeah, I have a sneaking suspicion I'm not going to get to check out anything but Rider or Sentai until I've watched all of Rider and Sentai.
I think you should just freaking like try like switching, like try watching two at a time, and one of them is like one you choose personally and one you choose on the Twitter poll. But that's just a random idea.
I don't know if I can manage that, and it'll take twice as long. But
Yeah.
Mega Ranger's starting next week. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about stuff you watched, or should I do my toy now?
I'll talk about my thing because I'm really excited, really excited, really excited to talk about it.
Okay.
Now, because Gridman Universe is coming out, the anime sequel film to SSS Gridman and SSS Dinosaur, I'm like, forget, I'll watch the original show. It's on Tubi. And I liked it better than I thought, because everyone tells me original Gridman is a bit whack. And I'm like, oh, well, yeah, it's goofy, and there are some elements that have not aged well. There's one episode of a homophobic caricature. But like, this
It's
is a
a
really
90s tokusatsu. What do you want?
this is a really fun show. I liked it better than I thought I would. Like everyone was giving it 3 stars. I'm gonna give it 4 because it's just a really good show.
Yeah,
It's,
I watched the first 5 episodes and I really dug it. I just was busy with other things at the time.
yeah, it happens. And like it gave me a higher appreciation for SSS Gridman. I think the characters are charming. Like yeah, they're brats, but hey, like it's probably the most nostalgic feeling Toku without like necessarily being like remember this from other show. It's just like the
Right?
feel. Yeah, it's the most nostalgic feeling like as being a kid.
Like it takes you
Toku.
back to those days of messing around in like your family's attic or basement with an old computer that can only run like MS Paint.
Yeah, that and or just like hanging out with kids or going to school. Like I know there's not as many school scenes like in this show, but it still gives me that vibe of like, oh yeah, I'm hanging out with the buddies and they're telling me to do stupid shit. You know, it's
Mhm.
great, and it's like I really enjoy this. And I also watched the 2015 anime sequel like short that they put, which is basically a test for SSS Gridman. I want to put this here because this short made me feel after watching because watching it directly after I watched the final episode. Man, like, no, basically, if you don't know, Gridman had an entire arc cut out of it because
Really?
yes, this was Ultraman Nexus before Ultraman Nexus. I did some research into this, and Gridman had an entire arc cut out of it because of production problems. And doing a bit of digging, Ultraman Power, the American Ultraman Powered / Ultraman the Ultimate Hero, the American produced Ultraman series from the 90s, which is infamous for being shit, was apparently the cause of all these production problems because Super Raya lost a lot of money on it, so they couldn't fund more episodes of Gridman despite its popularity. Now, here's the idea for the final arc. Takeshi, the incel guy, who's basically like, who helps Khan Digifer make all his monsters, was gonna become a rival, and then he was gonna get redeemed. Now the redemption, he still gets redeemed on the actual show, but it's kind of like it's a bit quick. You can kind of tell that was supposed to be an arc, and he was actually gonna become Gridman Sigma, which got they did make a Gridman Sigma model for like a bunch of photo novels that ran in Televicoon, but apparently Gridman Sigma was gonna start in his own sequel series after this arc. But here's the thing about...
So they were really, like, trying to make this Ultraman for a new generation, huh?
Yeah, I mean, or just, like, another branch of Tsuburuya's, like, entertainment domination. Because the Ultraman was still going on. It was just doing things internationally at the time. Because, remember, Ultraman Great happened. That was a big reason. Apparently, the funding from Ultraman Great helped make Gridman a reality. Because Gridman was a co-production between Takara and Tsuburaya. Which not a lot of people know. I'm talking about now. A lot of people know this fact. Not people know who Takara is.
That would track though, because like that would have been like right after the Brave series wrapped up, right?
Yeah, and probably Takara was looking for a new thing to invest in, and this predated the partnership with Bandai that Ultraman Tiga would brought. That still goes on to this day.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about Boys Invent a New Hero. They made Ultraman Sigma from the photo novels canon, because the entire short of Boy Invents Hero, besides the little, like, reanimations of classic Gridman fights, is an older Takeshi walking through this, like, desolate wasteland of computers, and him transforming into Gridman Sigma at the end.
That's cool.
Like, that is really hype. That was like, oh, my incel is all grown up.
I watched that boy grow up.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's so nice to just like, that short makes me feel things, man. I really recommend checking it out after you finish the show, or just checking out if you want to see like because the director of that short went on to work on SSS, so. You know, it's basically like a little in-between thing between original Gridman and SSS. So, now originally I was gonna have a video made this week, but me being me, I decided, I'm gonna include SSS Gridman, and also I'm gonna include Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad. So because I figured if I'm already including SSS Gridman, I should really include Samurai Cyber Squad.
Because I actually tried to watch all of Samurai Cyber Squad a few years ago. It's just like the same episode after a certain point.
Oh yeah, they literally like start reusing footage at a certain point. Like after like episode 39, because Gridman has 39 episodes, Samurai Cyber Squad has 53. And they didn't do a Zhu-2 thing. They literally just be like, okay, reuse the same fight footage from this episode. Cause they just it was a messy production. I need to so basically what I need to do is I need to watch the Toy Galaxy video on that, watch the show myself. I have to watch rewatch SSS because I've seen the SSS Gridman before, but I want to rewatch it. And then I have to write about those because I already wrote the parts of the video about that. But basically, I made too much work for me, and I hate it. But like, hey, I love.
And now
you
got a big stupid video coming out.
Yeah, eventually. It's like, granted, only 2 pages have been written, which for me is like 4 to 3 minutes of content, but it's gonna be like 10 minutes, I guarantee. If not,
which is very long for those of you who aren't familiar with Buster's channel.
Yeah, my videos are like 3 to 5 minutes. I mean, we're making longer and longer videos. The Kamen Rider one was like 8 minutes. So.
Which is very good, by the way. I don't know if I ever told you, but I really enjoyed that one.
Thank you. Go watch it if you haven't already. I'm really proud of it. Speaking of Kamen Rider, good segue.
Hey, so as I alluded to earlier, I've come into contact with Toku Chris recently because I saw, I don't even remember how it got on my timeline. Somebody retweeted it because I wasn't following him at the time for whatever reason. But he was selling his SH Figuarts Shin Chokuseiho Kamen Rider Wizard Flame style. And I decided, well, what the heck, I got that room in my budget. For once. Well, actually, I saw it like 2 days before I was going to get paid. And I said, all right, well, if he hasn't said it's been sold by the time I'm paid, then I'll DM him. And he hadn't updated it at all, so I went ahead and DM'd him. He said it was being held for somebody, but he would give me first dibs if they didn't pay by a certain time. And that ended up not happening. And then we also realized that we live like 20 minutes away from each other. So instead of charging me the $110 he was asking to ship it to somebody, he bumped it down to $90, and we met up in person at a local vintage toy store. And I bought it from him with cash, and then we hung out and talked for like an hour. And Toku Chris is a really cool, really knowledgeable, nice guy in person. As we spoke about earlier in this episode, he kind of tends to get a bad rap with certain sects of the fandom. But I had a nice experience hanging out with him, and I may do it again sometime if we both have free time in our schedules that line up. But I got the figure home, and I've been just way too busy this last week. So finally today, I did my first solo live stream over on my personal channel. And I unboxed a bunch of figures, including that one. And literally the stream that exists now, you can go watch the replay, is the only time I've had hands-on with the figure so far. But it's really nice. It's a very pretty figure, perfectly proportioned. The wired skirt is incredibly well done. And I love that the driver itself can actually move, and I love that the frickin' rings are separate interchangeable pieces. Like, that is Figuart's minute attention to detail and like parsing things out rather than making them moving parts, working in its advantage, in my opinion. Like, I haven't actually taken them off of the tray and put them in the hands or the belt yet, but I think that's going to work really nicely, way better than the rings being sculpted onto the hands and it being interchangeable like the original was. And I was able to get it in a few really solid poses. I got it in like a rider kick and like a I'm going to come at you pose. And I think the wizard sword gun is also really nicely done, because again, it's not a moving part to switch it from sword to gun. It's two interchangeable option parts, which makes sense because that sword like friggin' grows between shots when you switch it from gun to sword. And it's a really nice figure. I'm really happy to have it. Very thankful to Chris for selling it to me. And I'm probably going to be putting up some figure photography of it very soon.
Epic. That's very epic. I saw the live stream, so I have no other comments. So
okay. All right. Well, I think that is actually it, though. So why don't we go ahead and wrap up? Buster, tell the good people where they can find you out there on the internet.
Hey, I'm Buster Corp. I do videos on the internet. As Vac said, I recently did a video on Kamen 1971, and it's one of my favorite videos I've done so far. So go check that out. Also, the Heisei Kamen retrospective is re-uploaded, and Vac is in that one, so go see it.
Hey.
And also, Wednesday, tomorrow, as of this video's recording, I am debuting a brand new podcast on Buster Corp channel and also Spotify. Apparently, they changed Anchor to like Spotify Podcast or some shit. I don't know. Oh. But I'm debuting a new podcast tomorrow, Lakewood Podcast Turbo, where me and Wyatt from It's Only Magic and at Wasp Ranger on Twitter will be covering OKKO. It's a very great animated show, one of my favorites. We're gonna be rewatching the show and like giving our thoughts. We already have guest book. It's gonna be a very fun time. So go check out
episode by episode.
2 episodes, because each episode's like 11 minutes. But we're covering the pilot this week, and these episodes are recorded way in advance. So yeah, you'll always guarantee every episode a brand new episode of Lakewood Podcast Turbo over on my channel. So if you want more of me talking about things that aren't just Toku, head over to my channel.
Nice. I am the Vacuuminator. I make YouTube videos about things and stuff. I got a new video about a thing or some stuff that's coming out this Wednesday. You'll want to go and subscribe to youtube.com/thevacuuminator to see whatever that is. Also follow me on Twitter for all my latest thoughts on things @thevacuuminator. Tumblr for basically the same thing, thevacuuminator.tumblr.com. If you want to see clips of my videos, follow me on TikTok, _vacuuminator. And if you want to see my action figure photography, you can follow me on Instagram @the_vacuuminator. But folks, that's it. That's all for this week in Tokusatsu. So we'll see you back here next week for whatever happens that week in Tokusatsu.